Call the July 20th, 2020 meeting of the Fairport Industrial Development Agency to order and do roll call attendance. Leslie White.
Here.
Donna Stefano.
Here.
Ken Rohr.
Here.
And Rob Genthner by way of FaceTime.
Yes, sir.
And Kevin Clark is here. Good that Rob is away, but under executive order will be able to participate in the voting, which is good because we can approve these minutes then from the July 8th, 2020 special meeting. And we had in attendance at that meeting myself, Rob, and Donna. So I would take a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Comments, corrections, or discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Abstains? Leslie and Ken.
Abstain.
Okay. Move on to financial reports, resolution 2020-7, authorizing payment of the IDA bills.
Having reviewed them in detail, I move payment of the bills.
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion regarding those bills? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Financial reports, cash and investment reports.
I want to point out on the cash and investments page down at the bottom, the COVID impact fund, it says funded. It does not, it was still in the checking account as of June 30. So that has since moved out. Okay, so that's an error there.
Yeah, because the other one doesn't have the LDC, does
Right.
not have it as income. So. Any other questions regarding cash and investments? All right, move on to the Tompkins financial statements for the period ending June 30th, 2020.
What you'll see is, remember, an investment matured July 2nd, and that's what we used to fund the pandemic contract with the LDC. And we've got another $50,000 coming due July 31. And likely with rates and stuff, they'll recommend that it move out to a bank account. So, but I'll be in touch with Megan, of course, prior to that, and go with her recommendations.
And then also the IDA P&L and balance sheet. So we see those. Any questions regarding that?
I want to note that on page 14, that the net income before the investment portfolio, it shows a loss of $125,000, but that reflects the 150 that moved out for the Southwest Bank.
Yep. Okay. Moving on to old business, the Thomas Creek Wetlands Butterfly Garden. We received a quote today from Wayside talking about the to replace the missing plants in there. Rob, I'm not sure if you opened your email to get Martha handed us hard copies of that. And I'm not sure if you were, she just recently sent out the email on the quotes for that work.
I'll take a quick. I saw a number of emails come through today, but not that one.
Okay, yeah.
That was after, it was close to 4 o'clock. I probably got it.
A question that I have regarding this, and that's why I asked if you talked with Paul. The replacement plants are perennials. Is it his opinion that those are not going to come back even if they were mowed down? as a perennial?
I did not get an opportunity to talk with him about it, because literally, I called him and he said, let me finish the quote and get it over, so. I'd like to have maybe Paul talk with John Reddington.
Okay.
And maybe the two of them can go through that.
And I would, I don't know, but one of the questions too, is this planting season, or is that a fall planting or a spring planting, or now? I would think it's now, but could be.
Mhm.
Was the village committed to paying this bill?
My conversation with Brian was, we'll make it right. Okay, that was the extent of the conversation. What that actually means, I don't know. We'll have to take that further once we have a good understanding of what we're talking about. The quantities are really interesting, how many of those things there are. Wow.
Yeah, I know. I was shocked when I saw the 335 perennials.
Yeah.
Wow.
Plus 150 of the other ones.
Yeah.
Okay, so we will just need further work on that. Has there been discussion about a maintenance again, you'll be talking to Paul, and I don't know if you have previously talked to him. We threw around the idea of us taking over a maintenance contract for that.
Right, and Paul said, I did reach out to a couple people on the maintenance part, but everyone is so busy right now, I haven't heard back. So I say he's not interested in maintaining it,
So this will be an ongoing thing for.
Mm-hmm.
It does say though, maintained for the balance of the year.
I think as new plantings, much like when he put it in,
Oh,
he'd be back.
Is there that's another question. Is there a 1-year guarantee?
I think it was a 2-year on
2 years.
that. So that's another issue, but.
Probably
Okay.
not guaranteed against mowing, is it?
No.
Right. So, well, we'll get some more detail from John and Paul, and then we'll take it up with the village, I guess.
Is this something that we want to perhaps, given how late, relatively late the season it is, that we just move to next year?
Yeah.
I
And
think
I think
That was the plan.
well, I don't know. I mean, that's what we need to find out from them. Is it a fall planting or a spring planting?
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Do you suggest that I just give a heads up to the village with this information at this time? Let them know what we're looking at, or wait till?
I'd say let's get all of our,
Okay.
have a good understanding, because obviously there'll be questions.
Sure.
Even at the heads up, there'll be questions.
Okay,
Let's have all of our.
great. Mm-hmm.
Any other old business for IDA?
I did not have any.
Anyone on the board? Okay, move into the new business. First item is regarding the proposed state legislation. If you want to walk us through that.
Well, this is, we were alerted to this through our trade organization, New York State Economic Development Council, about this law that's been made its way through the Senate and the Assembly, I
Yep.
believe.
Yep, I
And
think so, yep.
one of my concerns about it is that the ABO, that the ABO now would be able to, in essence, bring charges against
Mhm.
individuals
Right.
under penalty of perjury. Right now, we sign these things as we certify that, to the best of our knowledge, these are what our reports are. So I'm going to let Ed talk more about it, but it's
Almost
disturbing.
It's very disturbing because it'd be one thing if we were certifying our financial statements. Really what they're talking about is the information the company provides to us, and then we submit to the state. And they want to be able to basically say, if that information is incorrect, and we didn't do enough to figure it out, we could be held for basically providing fraudulent information to the state, which is far overreaching. It's absurd. It really is. And what would happen is that, who would want to sit on an ID, who would want to be an ID director? It's ridiculous. So, and
if they had instances of
no,
fraudulent behavior.
not to an extreme, besides a company misinforming the IDA, like if you companies who will either on purpose or, but nothing to the extreme. There's not, it's kind of like either voter fraud. I mean, there might be some voter fraud out there, but it's not the problem that needs a big solution. And this is one of those areas where there's not a bigger issue, and I don't know why they're going after it like they are. So.
And one of the things about this also is we also are subject to the Office of the State Comptroller.
Right.
This relates to the authority's budget office. Again, it's a reach, but they were alarmed. Our lobbyist was alarmed, not our individual. I'm talking about the statewide association.
Right, but it's very different where we act as a conduit for this type of transaction. And we gather the information and are required by law to submit to the state. To have to put this extra burden, basically we have to go to every company and verify and have them provide us, so it's.
Yeah, and the verification is, who knows what you're verifying? And how deep can this thing go?
Right.
Yep.
We are not auditors,
No.
Correct.
so.
Right. So.
But they want to treat us like as though we were getting an audited opinion.
Right. Right.
And that's.
So they did submit a suggested letter, which is, I'm going to be editing that down, but either I'd like to have the chair sign it or myself sign it. I don't know if Ed and your firm, I don't know how you feel about, what do you best course of action on this?
So I would definitely say that the other ideas that we do work with the chair or the entire board is signing on, basically saying that this is inappropriate and would basically have a chilling effect on the ability of ideas to do any type of business. So.
I'm happy to do that, and if you are as well, I think that if we co-signed it,
Yep.
it's a good idea.
Yep, I'll work on that. I like to keep those things to one page.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, that was the suggested one was
Yeah.
a little much.
Right, so,
Some of it was redundant.
okay, great. So I'll circulate that as soon as I can and get that for your.
And now, interesting, this is in the Senate.
Mm-hmm.
So has it already passed the Assembly, or is it a Senate bill
What?
that has not yet gone to Assembly?
I'll have to double check. I'm not sure. I think it started in Assembly. I think
Yeah, and that's kind of the scary part, that it's gone through Assembly and it's now in the Senate.
it is.
Another one of those deals where they don't really know what they're asking.
Somebody told them it's a good idea.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And it just boggles my mind because I think there's so many other things that we could focus on. It just seems like such a.
It was introduced in the Assembly and Senate the week prior to July 15th. It moved through the Assembly's Corporations Committee agenda on Monday. We are told there's a chance this bill may move through both houses next week, which would be this week. In short, the bill will whatever. So it's got some legs.
So we need to get the letter out.
Mm-hmm. ASAP. Mm-hmm.
I will be out of town starting Thursday. So. In New York State.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Ed, do you want to just also bring the board up to date on the matter up north on the North Main?
Well,
The parking lot, Calabrese and the cannery that we're going to be in court?
oh, yeah, but should we do that in executive?
Oh,
That's on just.
Litigation.
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we'll move into executive
Executive, yep.
session?
After we've gone through the budget.
Okay.
And we'll go into executive session and then come out and adjourn.
Okay, thank you.
All right, then.
Yes.
Here, just a second. Raise your hand.
Yes.
Okay.
Bring my pen. Oh.
Oh, I can write it.
Oh, okay.
I just did.
Great.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Oh, yeah.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay. Great.
Okay, we discussed the budgets at our meeting last week, as in a workshop, did it jointly, and had a few comments and discussion on that. And Martha has since sent out the revised budget that is now on our agenda for adoption of that budget. So,
But I did make one additional addendum, remember? I just, in conversation with our engineering firm for Thomas Creek, they just asked us if we wanted to consider, as you recall, we updated the overlook. However, the boardwalk itself has not been updated. You know, and it's in the same state as the overlook essentially, except for it doesn't get as much graffiti. But that was replacing the old and worn boards with that powder coated fencing. So I just threw that in down there at the bottom. That's a ballpark, because again, this was just a conversation with the engineer. So I just didn't know what an
that was in addition to what we had talked
Yes.
about last week.
Yes, I wanted to just see if there's an appetite to undertake that. It would not be a monstrous project by any stretch. It's, you know, a couple of guys out there. It's just up to you guys if you want.
Well, I think it's fine to carry that number.
Okay. Yes,
Certainly
thank you. Yes.
We're,
Mhm.
we're not doing anything with it at this time, but the number is, if we do identify that that's something we want to pursue, we'll know
Great.
that we have some monies allocated. At least I have no problem with that.
Great, thank you.
Need more, Rob? I don't know how much time you've had to look at that IDA budget or any of the budgets, and any questions out of you?
No, I mean, it's tricky I regret not being able to attend the planning meeting, but as far as what's put together here, I don't really have any big questions right now.
Okay. And just to bring you up to date on the planning portion of our meeting, we tossed around some things, but we all kind of concurred. Donna suggested, you know, when we get this economic development study back, we're going to have a lot more information to base some of our planning on. So we'll be able to do that after we get our document back from the consultants.
Sounds good.
Any questions or discussion, further discussion regarding the budget for the IDA? Okay, I'll take a motion to approve that budget.
So moved.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. One other new business, kind of old business, before we move into executive session, is our openings that we have on the audit committee. I spoke with Megan on last Friday, and she said she would think about it. She liked the idea. I asked her to come up and talk with you, and by the expression I'm seeing from you, that did not happen.
Right,
You have
it's
not
only
talked-
Monday. No, I haven't heard from her.
Okay. So that was Friday afternoon that I talked with her. So anyway, so yeah, she's interested, but
Great.
I suggested she talk with you.
Great.
So we'll wait to hear.
Great. And before we go into executive session, I just want to say that out of the budget, the planning meeting, we talked a lot about the Northwest Quadrant and refocusing some efforts up there. So I just pulled some pages. The board wasn't here when this was developed. So there's lots more I can share. Some of it, though, is outdated. As we talked about, things have progressed.
Yeah, things have been done
Yes.
for that plan.
And tomorrow morning at 8, I'm meeting Peter Vars of BME and Matt Lester of the Cannery up at the North Main parking lot, because Matt is he's trying to enhance the overall area, in particular with regard to parking, and wants to partner with us if possible on something. So we're going to pull out our plans that we developed with BME for phase 2 and throw them on the car hood tomorrow and on site and kind of walk through and see what kind of things might be able to happen up there. So it'll be fun. Mm-hmm.
All right, any other new business for IDA?
Nope.
Okay, I'll take a motion to go into executive session to discuss pending litigation.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I would note that we're going to come back only to adjourn the meeting, so that at live stream, Ed, I'm just going to stop the live stream in total.
Okay.
And because we're only coming back to adjourn.
No
Okay.
actions will be taken, just strictly
Yeah.
adjournment. Okay.
Correct.
All right, so,
Wait a minute.